I cannot see the relation between beautiful gorilla on your new album cover, its title Millions, and DubInc. Would you elaborate on it?
So this cover we had the idea because we played in Congo, in East Africa, on the last tour, and we met a lot of different artists at this festival. You know, this place in Congo is like a war zone, very special zone, very difficult zone, and we met a lot of different artists, musicians, painters, and it's the place where we found the cover. Mm-hmm. We came back with this. And after, when we choose this cover to be on the album, we searched for a name for the album, and this gorilla represents a lot of different things in this album because it represents a species in extinction. It represents, it symbolizes also the fight against all the big firm and all the politics who want to use Congo and Africa to make business, to exploit the resource, and there is a lot of different symbols in with this, and we found the name Millions because there is a millions of species who disappeared. There is a million of people who want to help them. There is a million of dollars in investigate inside. There is a lot of different things. That's why.
Yeah, clearly. That's all.
Mm-hmm. I read you worked on about 60 rhythms to make Millions. In this process, do you sometimes go back to your old ideas, or if something does not go to the album, you never go back to this anymore?
Difficultly.
No, we can go back sometimes, but I think after 20 years we have the experience to know directly where we want to go. For this album it was easy to choose the rhythms. Of course we have a lot when we start to write music, but after 2-3 weeks we had already the main structure of the album, and no, it was okay quickly. I think it's about the experience now. We know how to target what we want quickly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned these missing spaces about the cover album. I'm wondering if there are any particular new ideas you touch on the album. I tried to translate with Google Translator some of the lyrics, and I found out that I think you are more on this album talking about social media and internet influence on people. Am I right? About the fake news?
Yeah, it's one part of the album because I think this question is really present now, really important now. Social media, internet is around us every time, in politics life, in social life, in everything. So for us, it came naturally, this inspiration, because we heard about fake news with Donald Trump and all governments in the world. We speak a lot about social medias and how they can influence the life of people. So that's why it was important to speak about that. But we speak a lot about different things like migrants. We have topics more personal. We speak about our parents, about our children. I think we are more older than the first album, so we are more able to speak about family thing and personal thing.
About the family and the social media.
Yeah.
There is a trend now that all the artists are trying to get as many as possible likes. Sometimes they do it exposing their private life because it gives them easy likes. I don't see your families on the band's pictures or any family references. Could you tell us then something about your families? How many children the members of the band have?
But I think this is a particularity of DubInc, and we don't really like to. We have never enjoyed to show the backstage, what's happening in our life, because this is something private, and for us, social networks are very good to use. It's cool to show how we are on the road and stuff like this, but family is something else, and we try to keep this private because, of course, we have nothing to hide, but it's just showing kids on social networks. It's not something. There is no reason to do it. There is no reason to speak about our families. Of course, we can say that we have kids, wife, stuff like this. But a part of that, we are musicians. We like to show what we do, our art. Yeah, definitely. We have to, and it's a way to protect ourselves at the same time.
How many children you have in the band in general?
We are all two. You have 2 children, I have 2, I think, or maybe 1 or 2 members of the band have only 1 children, but the rest of the band have 2 children.
Officially, of course.
Like Bob Marley, you mean? I'm wondering about the difference of reception to your music between Europe and some remote exotic places like Mexico or Africa you mentioned, or India. Is there any difference you feel between playing in Europe and playing such remote places?
Well, there is a difference because we are not famous at the same level everywhere. But honestly, when we go to Mexico, for example, it's almost the same as in Europe. When we play in Poland, it's almost the same as in France and stuff like this. Maybe, of course, South Africa or maybe when we go to India, we are less famous. But for us, it's still exactly the same show. We go on stage exactly with the same goal, to make people jump, have fun, talking about serious topic and making party. It's always the same reaction. It's always very positive. I think we have a kind of big variety of styles. So there is food for everybody with our music, I guess. So people are very positive with us, and we love that.
It's the second album you work with Guido, the German music producer. I'm wondering what is so special about him for you, and is it hard to keep the same sound in live situation when he's not mixing you live?
No, we continue to work with Guido because I think we found the sound what we wanted since a long time, and for the album before we tried to give our tracks to another engineer, and it was not good. Guido is the good one for dubbing. I don't know why. We found the good guys, and after on live it's very different. On live we are working with Ben. Our operator, our engineer since the start of the band, is as a member of the band, and he do a very specific job for the dubbing live. I think he's the most specialist. Yes.
But at the same time, what you forget is that yes, Guido mixed the album, but all the process before, the 6 months before, Ben is taking care about it, and honestly. The biggest part of the job is made by Ben already, who mixed our live show. So it's not that difficult to get the same energy. And I think we always say that he's the 8th musician of the big, and he's on every promotional picture and stuff like this because he's a part of the identity of the song. Yeah, definitely.
French really like to demonstrate their anger if they don't like the government. It's not the first time when French people are getting in millions to the street to demonstrate against the government. We have this case of Yellow Jackets. Do you support this movement?
So I think we support all the movement who is coming from the people, and what we like in this movement is a real movement from the down, we can say, and the people have to fight. They take responsibility of what they do, and it's incredible today to see that. I think France is a very good model for that, because yes, it's a proof you can change something in your country, you can change something in your world. Look in France, the people go in the street and try to change. After, it's more complex because the Yellow Jackets movement was, comment tu peux dire récupéré, was used by extreme right and different politics party in France, fascist party. So that's why we support the movement, we support the people, we support the idea of demonstration for your rights, to keep your rights and things like that. But we don't support everything in this movement. That's I see.
It's not the first time also you are involved into some charity actions. In recent time you made this great song Across the Waves for SOS Mediterranean. Can you tell us something more about this organization and why this great song is not on your new album?
This song is not on our new album because we wanted to keep it very particular. For us, it's very important to support them because SOS Mediterranean, they go in the sea to save the people. And they are the last end and comment dire. The last way to show the human dignity from France. Okay, it's unbelievable that we still leave people sink in the water just because they are not French. People die. We can't let them die. So SOS Mediterranean, they take risk to do it because, of course, they are attacked by fascist people and stuff like this. And for us, it's very important to support them. Give them some money, give them some visuality. People have to see and show to the people that they are existing and they represent our dignity, the dignity of the people. So that's the point.
In Poland we are facing a really drop of interest in reggae music in recent years. I always thought that French scene is really solid and really big. But I've noticed with your recent interview with Munshi from Reggaeville in summer, you also mentioned it's going down in France. So I'm wondering, why is that? Do you see any reason? Are people bored with conscious music simply and thinking about the music?
Yes, sometimes it's only the mood, because we can play in a lot of different countries. You know, we can felt maybe 10 years before in Portugal it was big, now it's less. Sometimes it's because of the mood, and I think qu'est-ce que tu peux dire sur les Jamaïcains, non?
Yeah, for me it's more about it's up and down since the beginning. Reggae is like this. Actually, these days it's quite a bit down here in Europe, but for example in South America where we go a lot, it's going super up. I would say also that with the crisis of music in the last 10 years, a lot of artists want to make more shows. So of course it takes a lot of reggae music is a stage music, a lot of people, big tours and stuff like this. And now there is less space for reggae music, so probably it also it's acting on it.
But there is always in every country where we played, there is always a reggae scene, for real. Yeah. South America, India, Europe, there is a reggae scene. I think reggae will never die, and reggae is universal now than ever.
My last question about your world music influences. You made this song Chubby?
Yep.
Chubby. It refers obviously to Algeria. And I've heard that there are some legendary Algerian musicians taking part in it. And I'm wondering if they are always happy to work with a reggae band, because for many it could be a completely different culture.
No, I think, every musician would tell that music is universal and it's not a question of style. We would be happy to play on other styles, to be invited, and we are always happy to be invited on other musics and stuff like this. So no, they were super happy to be in the studio. The mood was very good, and we are honored to have them on the album. So.
What's the future for DubInc? Next steps after this album?
Yeah, to do
Is the future clear?
The future now is just the tour. We have a big tour this year in Europe and next year all over the world, I hope. So we have to do all the show we want. We will go in Cali Roots, in US. We want to play again in South America. We have a lot of different things. And after we will see. Wait and see.
Okay, thank you very much then, guys, for the interview. Thank you.